y'all, this is Brad Miller. I'm here with Stephen Christian. We're super excited to have another episode here. We have a special guest, Kellin Quinn, who's a musician, songwriter, and lead singer for Sleeping with Sirens. He's also a businessman, and he's sort of keeping that entrepreneurial spirit and fire burning. Really excited to have you here on the show. Thanks, Kellin, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Man, this is gonna be awesome.
This is awesome, man. Thank you so much. But so what's new? I mean, like we're obviously into a state where creativity seems to be abounding in a lot of different ways because people are having to adapt to their own, surroundings. The surroundings obviously are changing in the fact that you are inside. So what has changed from your life from 3 months ago till today?
I think the only thing that's really changed is just being motivated to do things on your own and not have to rely on other people to do it for you. I'm supposed to be on tour right now with my band. We had a whole US tour planned, and obviously that's not going on anymore. And it's funny because I remember talking to my wife before this tour. My band's been going hard for like 10 years with barely any breaks. And when we do take breaks, it's to think about a record or to write a record. So it's not really a break. And I was telling her, I'm like, I need to go on a break or I'm going to lose my mind. And so here we are.
Wow.
It's just kind of forced to have a break. And I think that it's funny because when you want to go on a break and you're thinking about going on a break, it sounds nice. But then when you have to be on one, you're forced to be on one, you kind of like start to think the opposite. Like, man, I wish I could go back to work, or I wish I could be on tour. So we have to find a way to stay busy. And that's just kind of what I've been doing at home.
That's incredible. So you and I were talking kind of offline about some things that you're working on at home. Can you share a little bit of details about the music you're writing?
Yeah. So, I've done quite a bit of albums, EPs, and music with Sleeping with Sirens. It's kind of been my identity since the beginning. And I've always wanted to kind of dabble in just some different style of music that doesn't necessarily have to be in that Sleeping with Sirens box. So I'm working on a side project called Downer Inc. And I'm working on it with a producer friend of mine, and he just sends me a beat and I record vocals here and I send it back I record vocals via GarageBand.
Awesome.
and then I send it back to him and he edits it and makes it sound awesome, and there we go.
Man, that is so cool. What kind of like equipment are you using? Obviously you're using GarageBand. Like what is there something that's keeping you from using like Pro Tools or Logic Pro X, or you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, honestly, I'm probably going to end up moving to like a Logic or like a Cubase or something like that to start recording. But because of how fast I've been getting this music and how fast I'm coming up with ideas, like GarageBand is so user friendly and quick. It's just like basically just like click and go. And all you need is like, all I have is this like Focusrite red like little monitor box that I hook into my computer. I've got these Sennheiser headphones that, because I used to use Sennheiser mics, and they sent me a free pair, so I have those. And now that I'm using Telefunken mics, they sent me a like $1,000 condenser mic to just try, and I can send it back whenever I want. And so I'm just rolling,
That's
awesome.
That's incredible. What a perfect for a sponsorship. That's rad.
Yeah.
I know GarageBand's got some really good guitar amps and like sort of effects that are built in. I believe I read an article one day. The Fall Out Boy did one of their albums. Almost all the guitars were written in GarageBand, and then they just kind of ported them over, into Logic. I thought that was really, really interesting.
I mean, when I was looking on my laptop for specific apps for recording, or like I have an iPad, so I was looking on that too in case I wanted, because like my family kind of shares everything in the house. So it's like, I want to have something on something so I can work. And GarageBand is like the first thing that pops up, and it has the most stars, and every review you see is just like, GarageBand works. Like
it really does. Like I do majority of my demos on it. But when you send them to your producer, do you send them dry, or do you add your own effect? Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of takes a little bit of time, but you just kind of, you mute the music track at the top, and then you have like, and I usually do mine in sections. So I'll do like, the intro, chorus if there's one, or I'll start with verse 1 and I'll do the main vocals, I'll double those, and then I'll do like the harmonies, and then I'll just print those separately and send him that so he can start working on it. Then I'll dive into like chorus 1, do all that, send that off, and do it in pieces.
Yeah. So I just heard your single that you sent me, and even though you were saying that it was kind of like a rough, dude,
Yeah.
it sounds killer. I cannot believe this.
Thanks, man.
You just blew my mind because I
So
mean I
jealous.
use GarageBand too. I've never met another singer that goes by his middle name and uses GarageBand. We're just kindred spirits, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it works, dude, and like whatever is quick and easy because like you, I have a family, so I have like a certain window of time that like
Yep.
I'm not getting like interrupted while I'm trying to do stuff. And
Yeah,
even that window of time is precious. So
that's really cool. That's
So
awesome.
I'm curious. It's interesting because what does creativity look like right now for you? Like, I mean, it sounds like what I'm hearing is there's a lot of collaboration back and forth, probably
yeah.
sharing. I'm just curious, what does it look like right now with being stuck in your house?
I was texting Steven about this earlier this morning actually, and what I was saying is it reminds me a lot of like being in high school. I had with my graduation money, I bought this old school 4-track tape deck recorder. It was like a blue tape
Nice.
recorder thing, and you only had 4 tracks, and you record on the tape, and you go to the next track, and you record on the tape, and you had a tape cassette. And
Uh,
me and my buddies would make demos just for fun because we were bored, and it feels a lot like that. It's like doing this side project isn't like a necessity. It's not something that has to be done, but why not? You know, when you have the time to
Sure.
do it. I know not everyone has that like luxury, but for me, when I have a producer that's so fast and we're able to just trade things back and forth, if I'm inspired, like might as well do something with the time, you know?
Yeah,
That's incredible.
that's
So
awesome.
obviously you're doing the EP. That's in your. But what are some other areas in your life that you've changed? During this quarantine, that you're going to kind of continue on after this is all over. Is there something that you have created, something that have adjusted in your own personal life? Is there that moving forward you're going to keep?
Yeah, I think that one thing that my managers set up is this thing called Veeps, and they run most of our meet and greets and stuff like that when we're on tour. And what they've been doing for artists is they've been setting up like live stream concerts or Q&As, which gives fans the opportunity to, pay like 15 or 20 bucks, like a concert ticket. And like this next Saturday, I'm unveiling these 2 songs that I've been writing for the fans. We're going to do like a listening party. And then I'm also going to
Awesome.
do, I'm going to talk about like 5 songs off our latest album, Sleeping with Sirens' album, like, and what they mean to me and kind of break down lyrics. And then I'm going to be giving away 3 handwritten journals with my signature and stuff on it to
Oh,
3
that's
lucky
awesome.
people. And it's just a way to kind of stay connected. So that's
Yeah.
been really cool. And then I really like doing artwork. So I have like this, I have my iPad. So I do a lot of digital art on there with Procreate, and I will send those to fans to check out and stuff too.
Oh, that's really, really cool. Do you sell that stuff as well? Like just
I've just been giving it away lately, but I have sold canvases and done art shows in the past.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. Okay. That's awesome. I love how musicians, there's a lot of, it's like art, digital music, faith. It's really cool because it's almost like a new renaissance to me. It's like there's
It
so many
is.
musicians. It really is. If you think about it, like writers, music, it's unbelievable. So I love hearing that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and I think where music is going anyways is just this kind of platform of create mostly at home. I'm not trying to like downplay producers because I think they're important, but as far as like writing the core of your music, like it's so easy to trade stuff back and forth with people now that it makes it cool to be able to listen to what everyone else is kind of doing and then just kind of take some of those ideas and build your own identity.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And so, it sounds like that's kind of an evolutionary step, but is there anything else in the music industry that you feel like is the next innovation? For instance, tapes to CDs to Napster to Spotify. Where is the music industry going? What's the next phase?
I honestly think it's mostly about singles now. I don't think it's necessarily about doing a full length album anymore. I think that maybe an EP, and that's even pushing it because kids don't really have the attention span. Like, I mean, I have 2 stepchildren that are teenagers, and their whole vibe is they like songs, they put them on a playlist, and they don't even get through the whole song. They'll get through like maybe half of it and they'll skip it and move on to the next one. So it's like
Mhm.
all about like building a playlist and building a vibe. And I think that that's kind of where music is going, being a part of that, being a part of syncs and TV shows and like online stuff, like video games and things like that.
Is that discouraging for you, or is that kind of like Oh man, or do you as a challenge of something you've got to conquer?
I think what it does is it puts artists in a place where you you don't get so precious about things so much. Like I think it's important to love what you're doing, obviously, but not to the point where you sit on it for like a year, you know, like there's not bands that are making like albums that are taking them like a year, like Metallica did, you know, like the Black
Yeah.
Album. As much as I love the Black Album, it doesn't work like that anymore, you know?
Right.
I think that you have to fire on all cylinders and you have to do something creative and innovative. But I think it's not necessarily about a genre anymore. It's about just kind of coming up with cool sounds and cool ideas. And it's almost hip hop, really, in every genre. It's about clever thoughts and clever ideas and lyrics and then cool sounds.
Yeah. You know, as far as musicians are concerned, we are very entwined with technology, whether that's running in-ear monitor systems, whether that's writing on, like we're talking about, writing on Pro Tools and all that kind of stuff. What is a piece of technology that you as a musician cannot live without? Is there some form or fashion, whether that's just the tour life, you know, because
Yeah.
I know, you know, like, you know, you're going to jump on the bus soon. What's the first thing that you're grabbing?
Oh, I mean, well, my phone has everything I need, really, like as far as music and everything else technology wise. I probably, now that I'm creating and recording a lot more stuff, some sort of microphone. So like Telefunken, this mic is pretty sweet. It would be cool if there was some sort of mic that was made for travel and made to like just pop out, still sound really good quality, but like couldn't like take a beating, almost like a stage mic would be sweet. But you know, like headphones for sure. Although my band members would argue that headphones aren't necessarily a necessity for me because I forget them or I lose them. So I'll listen to like TV shows super loud at my bunk, just full volume out of the bottom.
That's
So,
awesome. So what kind of music are you into? What's something you're listening to right now? What's on your playlist?
so
not
what have I been
skipping.
listening to? Yeah, I've been listening to, let me see, let me pull it up. That way I can't. So this girl, Saint Panther, is pretty awesome. She's like hip hop, but also sings. That's been really cool. I also have this band that my sound engineer sent me called SYML.
Okay.
And it's somebody that was in that band Barcelona. It's like one of their new projects. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
And then there's this band called Holding Absence I've been listening to. They're from the UK. We did a tour with them. Their 2 new songs are great. And then I've been listening to 30 Seconds to Mars
Oh,
for just vibes.
Yeah.
And this dude, Active Child. That's what I've been listening
Nice.
to lately.
Active Child, man. That guy is ball. I love that dude.
Yeah.
What's your next tour and what's your dream tour?
Well, my next tour is probably going to be rescheduled. So that's us, Amity Affliction, Stray from the Path, and Unity, Texas. It's like a pretty heavy tour for our band. But I think that's the beauty of doing something like this new project is I can dabble in something a little bit more chill, softer, whereas Sleeping with Sirens will probably just get heavier and more aggressive. Dream tour. There's this band called Biffy Clyro in the UK. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to tour with Biffy. Like that would be like
massive over
ideal.
there.
Yeah.
It's funny because not a lot of Americans have even heard that name, and then you go to Europe and they're like stadiums.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're great.
That's cool. Who else besides them? So they're one of 4. Obviously, you're headlining. Who's 2 and 3 or 4?
Oh, on that bill. So us, Biffy, Billy Talent would be sick.
That's cool. Are they still touring?
What's that?
Are they still touring?
Yeah, they just put out a couple singles.
No.
So I think they're getting back to it. And then
wow.
opening slot. I like this band called Boston Manor. You should check them out too. They're from the UK. They're pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
So tell me, as far as not, like I mentioned before we even got on, a lot of people that are listening to this don't, that they listen to you or they listen to music, they love music, but honestly, their day job is like entrepreneurial or small business. So what are some practical business advice that you've had to, like, man, if you've had to figure this out, like we've talked about,
Right.
We don't have anybody teaching us the ropes. If you could go back and tell yourself something business practicality, or if there's a small business owner out there and he's looking for inspiration, he needs some help, man, he needs some motivation. What do you want to share with them?
I'd say just be passionate about it. I mean, it takes time for sure, but like for you and I being in a band and not making any money and touring with like $5 to our name and having to make that last and coming home and having your family be like, did you even eat? How are you surviving? Oh my gosh. It's like that passion is enough to drive you to continue working toward your goal. It shouldn't necessarily be about the end. I always tell young bands coming up or anybody wanting to start a business, like enjoy that climb, enjoy like, how am I going to make the rent this month? Because when you get further down the road and you are paying your bills and your mortgage, you'll look back on that time and you'll be like, man, that was the Wild West. That was so fun because I didn't know how I was going to make it. It was scary, but now it's like you appreciate it, you know?
Sounds like a startup to me. That's what it sounds like. You know, like just bootstrapping it, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Just doing whatever you can do. I mean, I think you have to find that one thing that is your niche. You know, I think that's important. And that goes along with having an identity in a band. Like you take from a lot of different things, but you go, okay, this is who we are. So I think that's important, but yeah, just the passion. You got to have the passion for it.
Yeah. I'd love to know a little bit more about just your lyrical inspiration and how you write. I mean, right now you're stuck at home. I'm curious to know, like, you know, where does the inspiration come from? Even outside of like being at home, I'm sure there's something there. I'm curious to know more.
Yeah, so with this project Downer Inc., the first single we're putting out is called Generation Z, and well, I don't know why I said we because it's just me and my producer, so I guess I'm putting out. It's called Generation Z, and the idea about that was, you know, having teenage kids, siblings, and also stepsons that, you know, have friends that can't go to graduation, that can't go to prom, that are missing like those super important things that I got to do when I was a kid, and not understanding from that perspective. Like the whole idea behind this Generation Z song is that it's not even out of a place of selfishness. It's just out of a place of young people need to have that human interaction more than some of us adults do. Cause we've had it, we've had those experiences. So I wanted to write a song from that perspective, from putting myself in that kind of teenage body and
that's awesome.
Missing people, you know?
A lot of
and having to remain 6 feet apart, you know, like
that's right.
How do you fall in love if you've got to be 6 feet apart from each other?
That is the next song, like falling in love 6 feet away. That's good. That's deep. Besides life experiences, it sounds like you draw a lot of your lyrical inspiration from just life experiences. Is there another form of medium that also influences your creativity, such as books or art, or, you know, like what else is there that kind of inspires you?
Yeah, so I like to, one thing I've been doing, and a buddy kind of put me onto this, is making like Pinterest mood boards. Like you can go in and if you get a piece of music, I like to put some images to it. So like even color schemes or like something that draws my mind to thematic ideas. That way it's not just, you know, solely about me. Like that whole Generation Z song was because I found a picture of this dude in a mask, like a ski mask, looking inside of like a security camera, like in a convenience store. But it was so like compelling, but it wasn't violent. It was just kind of like, wow, that kind of looks like us right now, like shopping in the store and looking up in the security camera and just seeing yourself with a mask and being like, I look like I'm gonna rob the place, but I'm just getting some milk, you know? And just thinking about that and those images and just putting those to music.
That's awesome, man. That makes a lot of sense.
That's rad. So I'm curious, this is just for my own information. I think I know we're getting close to time, but do you write on paper? Are you a paper, or do you write digitally a lot?
You know, what's funny is I've been writing on my iPad a lot lately, and my phone, because it's just easier to like read the lyrics, especially if you're starting with the demo right here in your hand, than it is to like hold and turn the page.
Yeah.
But I still love writing on paper, and one thing that I do that's hilarious is I'll like write in a journal, especially if I'm at a studio space on the couch while they're working on music. I'll come up with ideas, and then I'll like leave the journal there. and my producer will be like, dude, I found a journal that you left here like 3 years ago. And I'm like, I do that on purpose. It's almost like you're leaving, it's like you're leaving it there, you know, like a little treasure.
That is cool. I love that.
So, man, how can people connect online with you? Twitter, Facebook? Like, where are you at?
It's just at Kellin Quinn everywhere. I don't have anything really made for Downer Inc. right now. I've got like a bunch of domains on hold, but I haven't released anything yet. So eventually you'll be able to find me there. Downer Inc., Kellin Quinn, at Sleeping with Sirens, all of that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And we'll link them in the description as well. But
Cool.
man, thank you so much for joining us today. This is really awesome. It's really cool to see and hear about how musicians are working through this. And it's great. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for thinking of me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, cheers. See ya.
Hey, this is Stephen Christian and Brad Miller from Reactive Media saying thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode.
And also check out the little notification bell. That's going to give you updates when we have new episodes. For example, the little boxes floating here above my head. Make sure to click on one of those. You might see a new episode or win $1 million. Who knows? Click on it. Just
that little box, it's like magic. How did you do that?
Click it. Just click it.